What's good, YouTube? Lamb, the ultimate form, back again once again, and today we are here for episode 72, our final episode of Horizon Zero Dawn. The reason this episode has come out so late is E3 snuck up on me with my timetabling and scheduling, so I wanted to wait till after E3 to see if we got any more information on Horizon Forbidden West. Luckily we didn't, so I have less things to talk about, which is actually good because I don't want this episode to be too long. This is the kind of episode where there's not exactly too much to watch because it'll just be me running around, occasionally slapping something in the face and trying not to react too much to it. But this episode is more for us to sit down momentarily and have a chat, because now that this adventure is finished, we have another adventure to look forward to. As stated in the last episode, if you haven't watched that one already, I suggest you go back and at least watch the finale of this. I say finale of this adventure, but not the finale of the series. We finished the last mission of the game, fully equipped and ready to roll up and hurt some people. With that, we move on to discussing the things that we have found out about the Forbidden West, as the previous episode was in between our prediction conversation that we had the episode before then and the information we did end up getting about Forbidden West, to which I will be discussing not so much how right our predictions were, because we were very much on the nose as mentioned in the last episode, but talking about what we did learn and what that means for us, and more particularly Aloy, moving forward, because we learned quite a lot. I will be skipping over like things to do with not so much talking about gameplay, because most of our predictions were gameplay based, but more on the lore, the story, and a few gameplay tidbits here and there. With that, there is going to be minor spoilers for the first Horizon comic book arc. So if you haven't had a chance to read that comic book arc yet, I would suggest you don't watch this video and you do so. Please bear in mind that there is going to be a second arc to the comic called Liberation, which will feature Erend, sorry, can't keep putting a T on the end of his name, and it doesn't belong there. But the comic book would actually probably be the best place for us to start. So we could talk about the first arc for the time being, and move progressively and swiftly onwards. So let me make sure there's nothing here to interrupt me. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Oh, that's gonna hurt a lot. Shield and health? I didn't drop that hard. Okay, so let's talk about the Horizon Zero comic. So the first comic arc is specifically for the character of Talana, Miss Khan Padish, who currently is the Sunhawk of the Lodge. This is important for two reasons, because Talana, despite having a big part in Aloy's story, which is optional if you don't want to go do the Lodge quest, but it's kind of necessary for building part of Aloy's character and her interactions with the Kaja. Talana stands to be one of the biggest relationships that Aloy had developed. How do I get down from there? Had developed in the interim, an interim between her arrival in the Kaja Sundom and her eventual leaving thereafter, at the post-credit scene of this game. As the story goes, to which, as I said, there are going to be minor spoilers, as the story goes, after the celebrations for the battle at the Elite, Battle of the Elite, Aloy left. Aloy's not exactly one for celebration, especially when there are bigger things to deal with and to handle. which is why she left to go and see if she could find Elizabeth Sobek's resting place, which we saw at the post-credit scene, and to try and see if she can further her connection with her past, Sobek's past, and the stuff that kind of leads us towards the Forbidden West. But what the comic book does is it actually explains some of the stuff that happened between when she left and that post-credits hour and that post-credits scene, because that post-credits scene is kind of important. But it actually tells us what happens in between those two scenes. I bet if I go down, I'm going to die. That's not a bad drop. Oh yeah, I did die. Never mind. Just auto kills me. Okay, thank you, universe. Anyhow, so let's talk about that comic book arc. So the story picks up just after, as I said, just after the Battle of the Elite, to which King Avad makes Talana a part of the restoration, kind of like the restoration committee for Meridian. Wow. As a result of that, she finds the work horrendously mundane and boring, as she should, and along with Erend, she finds better things to do. This results in this comes from an attack by by two sawtooths. I think it's two sawtooths and a ravager, to which the hunters defending Meridian's borders, the Meridian's borders, the lower town, and some of the hunters from the lodge, all engage these sawtooths and this ravager, and it becomes a bit of a competition between Erend and Talana. And they noticed that, along with some reports, that there were particular machines with black armor. Now, black armor is not necessarily a dead giveaway to what we end up finding out. But as we move forward, we learn that there was a contract given to the lodge, to which a nobleman, who Talana isn't exactly fond of, and isn't fond of her either, decides that he wants to go take the contract, and it leads to quite a distance away from the Carja Sundom. I can't remember exactly if they gave a direction, but I believe it was past the Jewel, or an area south of the Jewel in particular. And we meet the members of this small township as Talana goes and takes the contract after a hefty argument with the nobleman. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And as a result of that, she finds that there are machines being attracted to that area, and one of those machines that are being attracted is the Claw Strider, the first of our new machines that we will be seeing in Forbidden West. But we'll talk about the new machines in a little bit, because there's a bit of detail that the comic book at the end gives us.
That'll help
in terms of learning about these new machines. Anyhow, she's embroiled in the conflict as there are hunters who are looking to get the bounty for killing these Claw Striders. But when they realize it's a pack of machines, a pack of Claw Striders, they go out to try and draw them out by killing other machines. Claw Striders are combat class machines and built by Hephaestus in particular. Kind of an important note to make. As a result, the stakes become higher as more and more hunters are being killed by these machines, and the people of the town are being attacked more frequently due to the machines being attacked as a result. So it's an unending circle.
Can't be too prepared.
Talana meets another character whose name also, I probably should have written it down, but his name escapes me too. But he's kind of important. He was a soldier back during the Red Raids, and post Red Raids, due to his desertment of the conflict, he ends up returning to his family home, which has then since been defaced by the local people, as they treat him as a traitor. But he ends up helping Talana with the machines, with the Claw Striders in particular, as well as kind of making a budding romance with her, which I guess is something that she kind of needed as part of her development. But she's a very strong, independent young lady who doesn't really need a man. Think you can hide from me? This leads to a rather dramatic fight scene as Talana is embroiled in a larger conflict, not just against the machines, but also the hunters that are coming after the guy who is wanted by the leader of the township.
They're scanning for me.
So that then ends up resulting in a further conflict, which involves a shell snapper, which is another new machine that we're going to have to deal with.
Get another hit in.
All in all, the conflict actually really ends with Talana deciding that she's going to go follow Aloy wherever she goes, and the young man that she ends up saving heading back to the Forbidden West, by which he was deployed to as part of the Red Raids. So that's where our connection comes, and leads to the suggestion that Talana will feature in the Forbidden West and may become an ally for Aloy moving forward, which is something I'm okay with seeing, because I'm a fan of Talana and I do like the way she carries herself. I messed that shot so badly.
Yes.
The next arc does feature Erend, and I'm excited to see where this goes, because as much as I kind of dislike his character, I do think he has still has a lot of story to give over, and a lot more development considering what we then see in the gameplay demo, but we'll talk about that in a moment. So let's take a pause and talk about two of the new machines that we have to deal with. I've mentioned them before, and they are the Claw Strider and the Shell Snapper. Now they're both classed as combat machines, as shown at the end of the first comic book arc, and if you buy the graphic novel, it's literally the last page as of the conclusion of the story. And I think in the single issues, the issues that they first appear in, or the first issue now, they are shown, so you get the exposition for that pretty early on. They're both terrifying machines. The Claw Strider, though the name suggests that they are lower tier machines, they are indeed combat class, which means they are highly dangerous and work in packs. That's what makes them very dangerous. The specific note on their black armor isn't particularly relevant, but is more story relevant to the comic book, so you can pass over that information and treat it how you will. With that said, they are formidable machines and seem to be heavily armored in most places, and bear similar design functions to other combat class machines: sharp claws, rotating jaws, things that hurt, essentially. They don't seem to have any other physical or ranged weapons. Everything seems to be melee on them, which is not necessarily a good thing, but not necessarily a bad thing. Shown off in the gameplay, though, they do seem to have a sonic device similar to a long leg used to disorientate hunters and allow them to gain openings to kill them, which is an interesting fact. And then we move on to the Shell Snapper, which is another combat class machine as said in the comic book, though its functions seem to be based on tortoises. They are said to be able to hide in bodies of water or in the ground for long periods of time and use that method to sneak up on unsuspecting hunters to kill them relatively quickly.
As you venture south.
So that's awesome to know. They are very formidable and seem to have an ability that allows them to essentially every time you hit their shell to store up energy and release it as large bursts of force that can be used to knock out, maim and kill hunters, as well as a neck that can extend to chomp down on their adversaries. So those are the first two machines we'll discuss, but then we can also discuss the gameplay footage and the story that it gives that we see in that. If you want a far better explanation of these things, and as well as more lore specific information, I would highly suggest following the YouTube channel Random Side Quest, which is a Horizon Zero Dawn specific lore channel.
Fresh as it comes.
And they're really good. I've mentioned them many times, and they're a good collection of information that I think anyone who's fan of the franchise at this current moment should go back simply to review from time to time, because reviewing information just reminds you and refreshes you, and it might set some things in perspective. Cool. So the next thing I want to mention is the new weapons that we get. Actually, no. Let me mention the new tools. Those are exciting because they're small bits of gameplay stuff that we got. The first tool that we learn about, in addition to changing to the focus, which allows you to now see climbable points on the map to make it somewhat easier. I think it's called a focus burst or something like that. Is the pull caster. Now the pull caster, much like the clutch claw in Monster Hunter World or the
That'll keep my stomach quiet.
claw things in Zelda, allow you to attach to points horizontally or vertically to reach them faster. But you can also launch off them to gain elevation, which seems to hint at one of the things that me and my friends predicted was a change or development of the climbing mechanic in Forbidden West, which is definitely something that is much needed. In addition to that, we also get what's called the shield wing. Now, my friend Emma, who I would have loved to have as part of this discussion for this episode, rightfully pointed out that the shield tech used for the shield wing is strangely similar to the shields pulled off of what are they called? Of Shellwalkers, because they have a shield unit on their left hand, which emanates a hard light shield which they use for defense and protection. It's clear that the shield wing is hard light because there's no way that simple electric field has any resistance to the air, and it has to be hard light. We do know that hard light exists because many of the weapons that Hephaestus has then made are somewhat alien in that fashion. I missed that badly. So those are two things. The shield wing allows you to descend slowly by gliding, which again changes aspects of combat, allowing you to get the drop on your enemies, machine or human otherwise, which will play also into traversal, because then you'll be able to get to
breeze through the trees.
You'll be able to get to lower points without too much struggle. Which I think, again, something else that will reward players for using their tools adequately. I don't know if Aloy will start with this stuff. I hope not, because I like that progression in learning how to traverse in new ways. That will oops, sorry, my bad, misclicked. That will allow the players to develop their way of traversal. Okay, I didn't see him there.
You're dead.
Let's keep going.
Somebody needs a killing, and I'm in.
Maybe none of that, please. Whew, okay. 1 minute to catch my breath. I did that all for like a canister of blaze, because I blew off the other one. Anyhow, moving on. Aloy also gets access to new weapons. If you haven't seen the gameplay for that, I would also suggest that's something you take the time to watch, because you learn a lot. Obviously, go through it slowly, because there's a lot to see and a lot of time to kind of recognize things. But Aloy gets several new classes of weapons and also changes to weapons that she already has. We know that the hunter bow and the precision bow comes back in different forms. Side note, she also gains weapons for the new tribes that we'll be meeting, or have already met, but will be actually having contextual relationships with, that being the Utaru and the Tanakh. But we'll talk about those guys in a minute. She also gets new weapons from the Oseram, including like this blast lance, which is kind of cool, but definitely takes a lot of winding up. There are new ammo types.
Nutritious.
The blast sling also comes with, we were shown the blast sling comes with a like sticky ammo type, which I can't tell you how useful that would be. So we know that there is more than likely going to be new materials in order to make ammunition.
They know where I am.
So that's actually really helpful to have, and opens up a lot of the ways by which players have played the original game, and then will advance how they play the new one. And I like the idea of having new tools to play with, because it's just an advancement of the gameplay systems we already have. Okay, what's next on my list? Oh, underwater traversal. One of the things that we had prediction for was changes or developments that will allow the inclusion of underwater exploration and perhaps combat. Although combat was basically confirmed to be a moot point, because there will be no, at the moment, from what we've been shown and what we've been told, there is no inclusion of underwater combat, but you never know, things might change. Things may change, you never know. I'm not fussed either way, but underwater exploration will be probably the most fun I've had with that manner of gameplay method. We do know that Aloy gets access to a rebreathing device that allows her to breathe underwater, and it will be indefinite, so you can explore underwater for as long as possible, with the main obstacles being machines, aquatic machines. To which we also got a new one called is it a borrower, I believe. Obviously Snapmaws come back, and hopefully a few more aquatic machines, and underwater currents, and a few other probably things that we have yet to be.
Keep qu-
What was the other thing? Trying to think. Oh yes, another gameplay thing aspect that we discussed but didn't have much to go on was changes to combat. And one of the big things that I was glad to see was changes to melee combat. As I mentioned before, melee combat was rather lacking in this game. As much as the spear is good for weaker, lower tiered machines, you have to remember that machines are leveled and scaled. It becomes pretty much a moot point under most other circumstances, where taking things from range and in stealth is generally far better than trying to fight something head on, unless you're me and you can do all of the above and fail all at the same time. But it did introduce something called Valor Surges, which I don't know if it's specifically linked to the spear, but I have this minor inkling that there are special moves attached to different weapon types, and hopefully they can be swapped out so you can get different Valor Surges per weapon, and then you can switch them out for single uses or multiple uses per engagement. I'm not going that way, that's two scorches. Yes. What else? I want to talk about the story stuff as well, because I started talking about it and then I derailed. Combat, Valor Surges, traversal gameplay, the Tanakh, the new weapons. Oh, the Tanakh, the Tanakh and the Utaru. Those are two tribes that we've had introductions to, but not necessarily have had spent a lot of time with. There was, I don't know if you guys remember, quite far back in like the second third of the game, once we hit Meridian, there were a Banuk, a Tanakh, and a Karja that we helped out with funeral rites for their people that were lost during the Red Raids, and one of them was the Utaru. Now, from the lore of the game, the Utaru hail from the Forbidden West, but are far closer to the Karja Sundom than they are to anywhere else. Probably hailing from the southwest more so than the west, specifically beyond Sunfall. This very much leads me to believe that the Tanakh are far closer neighbours to the Karja than we first thought. Same with the Tanakh. Lore's a bit weird with that one, about how far these people are from the Karja Sundom, and placing them between where we are in Colorado and I can't remember the other place like we travel to in our world. I want to say I can't remember, but we do know that they are between where we are and the western coast of San Francisco. In is it California? Yes. I'm getting all my American places mixed up because it's not part of geography that I pay attention to enough. Um, as such, they manage large swaths of land between here and there, and we get to make relationships with the Utaru, who are known primarily for their archery and their agriculture, and their use of plant materials
These are
in
helpful.
making
Bitter though.
clothes. Which, if you watch the gameplay demo, you see that Aloy is sporting a Utaru styled garb, which is wonderfully made and looks brilliant in the game engine. But we also get weapons from the Tanakh. Now, the Tanakh are a bit more complicated. They are a tribe, yes, but each tribe has clans, which not only suggests the size of the tribe altogether, but the fact that each clan is culturally diverse. We through the 5-hour stream that we got the demo footage, we learned that of 3 clans: the Sky and
Feels like if I
the
blink, my eyes will freeze shut.
Sky, Lowland, and I would say Mountain. No, not Mountain. Desert clan. Yes, and each clan seems to live in a specific part of the land space between here and the western edge of America. Don't drop and die, please. Don't drop and die, please. Don't drop and die, please. Thank you. So yeah, we do kind of get this notion that there is a 4th faction within the Tanakh, and these are the bandits that we end up fighting against. Bless me. And they have the ability to control machines. Wow, my nephew is loud. Let's keep going because we're at the Grave Horde now, so we need to get a mosey on. I'm getting through this kind of quickly. I shouldn't have done that. Whoops. Where was I going? If they specialize in different kinds of weapons, we may get weapons that, well, this is a bit of speculation on my point. There might be some weapons that are more in tune with a particular clan rather than the tribe as a whole. But there may be they're just like simple tribe-specific weapons, which I kind of like, because in this game we bought the weapons, and different weapons were kind of suggested to be part of each clan, but then weren't specifically of each clan. It's not really a conversation we can have here because there's not much to go by. Someone else wants the hands? I heard voices.
We're dead too if you don't.
That's what I mean about melee combat.
You're trash now.
How did I miss that shot so many times?
Pay attention! I'm shooting here!
You are safe now. What else? What else is there in that subtopic to discuss? Again, if you really want like an in-depth lore explanation of these two tribes, Random Side Quest YouTube channel is probably the best place to go, because there's plenty of stuff there worth being explained and can be explained far better than me. So we talk about weapons, gameplay, tribes,
Itching to hurt
new machines. Oh, and the last thing we can talk about, which I feel like is necessary because I haven't mentioned it too much before. I did mention it in the last episode, and I did say I was going to talk about it. So, we have a bit more context as to Aloy's struggle, or the reason that she heads to the Forbidden West, and even perhaps some more context as to what things have been happening even during the course of this story. And this goes back to the conversation about Hades. Again, the Random Side Quest channel has done a video on this, so that's kind of where I'm getting the information from. But it's always been an inkling in the back of my mind, having realised some of the clues that they had brought to the surface. So we will understand what Hades is. Hades is the sub-function in charge of resetting the biosphere if Gaia was to fail in the redevelopment of the biosphere. As such, Hades was built in a specific way to be ancillary but also separate from Gaia's control, and to essentially spark note that the Random Side Quest channel's video on revisiting Hades and the Forbidden West. The unknown signal, though there's debates within the lore community as to what sent the signal and why the signal initiated the events that happened. Var Silver, cough cough. Can't confirm nor deny that it was Var Silver, but if it was indeed Var Silver, then that's a conversation to be had, which we will have if you give me a moment. We then have the conversation about whether Var Silver in particular was wanted or was aware of Hades and its capabilities, and then was willing to activate them because there was changes to the biosphere or not. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's slow down and break this down a little bit more. One of the data logs, actually let me see if I can find it, because I think I know which one it is. I think it was the one for yes, no, that's the one for Hephaestus. I think it's one of these ones. Data points, machines. Can't remember which. Oh no, it is this one. This data log is the one that we got from hacking into the first tallneck in the Frozen Wilds, the one of the snow teeth or the ice teeth. Can't remember exactly what it's called. And you may see the 5th point down. It says supercell formation overhead. One of the things that would be indicative of a breakdown of the biosphere would be supercell storms. And this supercell storm that appeared over the cut was the one that caused the electrical interference. I see electrical impact. It got struck by lightning multiple times, which caused the tallneck to be impaired and then deactivated as a result. This would indicate that there was a growing instability in the atmosphere and thus the biosphere. Perhaps this is the information that Hades used to initiate his programming, because if Hades was to activate, provided that Gaia had detected a abnormality, a severe abnormality or series of abnormalities, Hades would then be able to unseat her control and then usurp it and then use the other sub-functions in order to reset the biosphere. If that sounds like a garbled mess, don't worry, it sounds like a garbled mess coming out of my mouth. But what I'm trying to hit at here is we already have hints in this game, at this point through the DLC in particular, that there is something brewing. A storm is coming, as Aloy says. And we see that part of the reason that she is out there, because the game Forbidden West takes place about 6 months after the end of this one, that Aloy is tracking the storms and trying to figure out a way to offset them or fix them. And this tied in also with the Red Blight means that she has a lot of things on her hands. Glad that was I managed to remember that one. But then we look to Vars Silva. Now I mentioned Vars Silva before. Vars Silva was an AI used during the clawback decade, after the die-off, in order to help humanity re-establish the biosphere after a rather horrendous ecological series of ecological disasters that could have killed the entirety of humanity. As such, it's possible that Vars Silva was the one who sent the anomalous signal to Gaia and triggered the releasing of the code shackles around the sub-functions, potentially because of the ecological disasters coming. Which I honestly don't think is a bad idea or a bad train of thought. As I mentioned before, the last time I mentioned Vars Silva, it law for some time, but it suggested that it was milling out there after the demise of humanity and was probably watching everything that's been happening up until now. And it's also the reason why AIs like Gaia and Cyan weren't meant to be made. It's sad that this place has no more enemies in it. Probably should mark where we're supposed to be going instead of just like wandering around. Let's do that actually. Let's actually mark where we're supposed to be going. I want to kind of end up in one place in particular while running through the entirety of the map. I don't know how I made that jump. Okay. As I was saying, Vars Silva. There we go, Vars Silva. It's kind of important for us to recognize the potentiality of did I find something? Yay, we found something. Something I didn't know I didn't have. This is for Mexico. Are there still the corrupted machines? Okay. Can't hang around here. Okay, I don't know why I tried that, but I shouldn't have done that. As I was saying, Vars Silva could be very much milling out there and could be partly responsible for what is going on. But that's not confirmed. That's pretty much only a theory that I'll put out there as food for thought. There isn't much else for me to mention other than talking about who else we might potentially see in Forbidden West. We do know that Erend is confirmed, as he appears in the demo footage. Oops, that's probably a bad way for me to try and get across there. But there may be other returning characters alongside Talana,
Not
who...
built for mountain climbing, huh?
It's not really a mountain, it's a freaking slope. Come on, dude. So Erend might be coming back, and there's Talana, as well as the character whose name escapes me right now. Really can't remember his name. It's really bad. I quite like him as well. Hopefully he'll be flirting with Talana again. But there could be other characters that we have met that may have reason not just to be in the Forbidden West, but to help Aloy along on her journey. My god, how did I miss this one? How did I miss that one? That's from the concert. This is the concert area that we passed by literally at the beginning of the game. Wow, we've come a long way. But yeah, pretty much not much else we need to talk about.
Dawn's coming.
Honestly, I'm excited for Forbidden West and the adventure that Aloy is going to be on. She's off to save the world once more, but from a threat that I don't know if she fully comprehends. Go away, Sawtooth. I'm going to run across your face. From a threat that she doesn't fully comprehend. As we spoke about before, it's very possible that there will be other sub-functions that will be involved in the story. More particularly, Aether. Obviously, Hephaestus and Hades are still milling about and still will be thorns in our side for the foreseeable future. And I very much expect at least a mention of Vast Silver. It seems like they're trying to go for a trilogy for the Horizon games, and San Francisco may not be the end of our journey across America, and maybe not even... It might not end at 3 games. There might be other things, other characters' stories that we get to experience as part of the Horizon series, and I really do look forward to it. As much as I love Aloy and she's a strong character, there's loads of other characters in this game that could develop out into the franchise. Don't want them to kind of work too hard at it and try and rinse out the franchise as a whole, but very much do think that there's a lot here. The world building is wonderful, the areas are wonderfully designed, it's beautiful, it's fantastic, there's loads of weapons, tools being developed by this this fictional human race almost several hundred years in our future, as well as loads of machines that can be developed through the imagination of the creators, which I do honestly feel like it's something that can be done. Like, just imagine like we got the Thunderjaw. What if Hephaestus just got up and decided, yeah, cool, I made a giant T-Rex, how about I go and make a robot dragon? Like, that excites me, not just because I like dragons, but like that would be something I wouldn't want to fight on a regular basis. Having weapons, spitting fire, potentially, having freaking laser guns. Damn, it'd just be incredible. But also from like my anthropological brain here, seeing more smaller tribal civilizations grow out and develop, and even humanity may be even coming back to what is more recognizably our own, which also would be really cool. Please don't look at me. That's because you guys decided to take bare long walking on the path. Come on, man. I'm riding here. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Again, pretty much the final video for this series. There isn't exactly much exciting about it, and it's just been me rambling some stuff. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here before I end up rambling any more. Didn't actually get to where I wanted to go, but we took a nice little journey across from the cut all the way to like the middle of the Kaja Sundom on our way to the highest point in the game. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Another short one. Just as a finishing note, with so much happening this year, I'm already coming to the end of June. I will try and persist with making videos. I did promise that I'm going to try and finish Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Probably won't finish it by the end of the year. I do not hedge my bets. I am doing currently a writing challenge to get a book finished. So if my single a week upload plan kind of goes down the potty, it's because I've taken the time to focus on my writing rather than YouTube videos. I do apologize in advance for that. But now that this project is finished, all we have to do is wait for Forbidden West. And if by some slim chance I don't finish Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, why are you following me? If I don't finish Cyber Sleuth by the time Forbidden West comes out, it's going to go on hiatus again, and I'm going to be playing Forbidden West all the way through before I start making videos for it. It'll be the same format as this one. I'm going to be playing it with New Game Plus, so I'll have pretty much everything, and there'll be plenty of me to talk about as I've already gone through the game. So yeah, pretty much it. Nothing else more to say. I am very excited for that, but my docket for actual games to be playing for pleasure rather than videos is slowly filling up with Scarlet Nexus coming out this Friday, and Monster Hunter Stories 2 coming out on the 9th, so I got about 2 more weeks. Though having said that, Stories 2 is technically my late birthday present, and Scarlet Nexus just so happened to be coming out this week, so I was like, you know what, I'm getting that. Because I enjoyed the demo, which reminds me, I've got to do the second demo part, which I might do today, maybe, if my internet holds up. But I've been rambling long enough. I might try and do a channel update at the end of the year, just to take a moment to reflect and see what I can do better, as usual. But with that, because I'm done talking, my mouth is dry. Thank you very much for watching this series in particular, and watching this video in particular. It's been a long, wild ride. It's been almost 2 years since we started playing this game. Or I started playing this game for you guys. And for every person that's been watching this series, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because without your viewership, I would not have decided to carry on, and I would have just stopped. But I really do enjoy playing these games and chatting and talking nonsense for you guys. So once again, thank you very, very much. I guess I will see you guys in the next one.
Get out of this.
Please make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell to get notified of more content coming your way. Share with your family and your friends, especially if it's relatively child-friendly content that you want to share with slightly younger viewers. Digimon's probably the best thing for that, although sometimes I can't keep my potty mouth to myself, so be careful. And yeah, I've been your boy Lan, the Ultimate Form, and this is the end of Horizon Zero Dawn. I will catch you guys later. Peace.